And we're going live. Hey guys, it's your girl La, aka Pella Talk, and welcome to yet another episode of Whatever You Say podcast. If you're listening to us today, that means that you're curious, you're open-minded, and you're ready to learn something new. Our show is a space for open perspectives, for deep conversation, and for educating the race. So buckle up, sit back, and let's get ready for another episode of Whatever You Say. Y'all already know what time it is. It's time to take out your phones and go to our Facebook page, our Whatever You Say podcast Facebook page, and to share this directly to your page so everyone else can see what's going on today. So that's what I'm going to do. There you go. Yeah, I already know every time I do this, it's like a science project, honey. So just going to the page, going to the live right now. And I thank y'all for tuning in with me. I appreciate your support so far. So we're going to go to the page, press share, go to more options. We're going to copy the link. And now I'm going back to my page and putting we're live. All right, and pasting the link. All right, everyone. So we're going to have a great show today. Our episode is called Keys to the Castle, and it's about navigating the real estate market, honey. Whether you are not aware of how to purchase a home, whether you're trying to be a realtor, we have some experts here that are going to help us out today and help you figure this thing out. So without further ado, let me open up my forum to my lovely, beautiful guests today. Hey ladies, how are y'all today?
Hi, good. I'm
Hi.
well.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. I'm gonna go around and listen, state your name, tell them a little bit about yourself. Let's go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Treallis Sierra. I'm a realtor at Burgos Realty. We are a family-owned, minority-owned real estate company based in Montclair, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. State your name. Tell us about yourself.
My name is Mikeala Semexant. I am at the Caldwell Banker office in Maplewood, and I'm happy to be on the show with you guys.
Thank you as well. And last but not least, state your name.
Hey everyone, my name is Queenella Gibson. I'm a licensed realtor, Coldwell Banker, right along with Mikeala in Maplewood. I'm a realtor, New Jersey realtor, author, and host a lot of events. So what would you call me? An event coordinator.
Yes. Thank you, ladies, for joining us today. And I hope y'all ready for these questions and ready to educate the people that's out there that's been waiting for us for the show that is. And let's get into the questions. Let's start off with Treallis. What inspired you to be a real estate agent?
Okay, so I am a corporate 9 to 5er. And during the pandemic, I really saw the need to not only generate another stream of income, but I wanted to build something that could be around for generations to come. And real estate really checked all those boxes for me. Something that has purpose, something that's fulfilling, and something that I'm passionate about. So it just worked that I landed in real estate. And I am fairly new, licensed in 2019. So I went through the whole crazy real estate market during the pandemic, gained a lot of experience. And yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. What about you?
So I got licensed in 2016, and I actually graduated college in 2015. So I was literally just trying to figure out what I should do, and someone who, a parent of a student that I went to school with at Drew, his mom opened up her own boutique like real estate firm, and she kind of just was like, hey, like, she made it sound really amazing, and that's kind of how I got started. But I was inspired by just helping people and guiding them through the biggest purchase of their life, pretty much. So like And so yeah, that's pretty much what it was for me.
Thank you. What about yourself, Stella?
I was looking for a home for my family and I hated my realtor. I hated my realtor. It wasn't like I hated them. I just didn't like the way they delivered and the way they performed. Got really frustrated because I felt the moment we were pre-approved, they took off with my pre-approval and really didn't explain the process. There was no consultation. It was more so how many bedrooms you want, where you want to purchase, how much is your what's your budget? And me, I'm an overthinker. I overthink everything. So if you're gonna take my pre-approval and run off and don't explain nothing to me, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to school and try to figure out what it is, and I'll do it, alone. And that's exactly what happened. I went on, got my license, we purchased a home, and then I decided to stick it out because the pay was good. And I liked the idea of feeling like I had purpose because I was an at-home mom for 9 years. And I felt like, hey, this is something that I could do. I could be flexible. I feel like I have some sort of identity outside of being a mom and a wife at the time. So this was like, yeah, this feels good. I get to help people and get rewarded for it. I'm gonna stick this one out. So that's what happened for me.
Nice. And for those looking to be a real estate agent, where should they start? What would you say? Any, many, miny, mo.
Okay.
If you're looking to be a real estate agent, I obviously how you start is you go to school for it. There's a plethora of schools out there. I went to Weichert University, and at the time, now they have virtual because of COVID and stuff. But I went there. The course was 3 weeks. I think the class was like $300 at the time. I don't know how much they go for now, but I know between $300 and $500. And I took the 3-week course and I actually got licensed the next month. And you go to school, you take an exam, and then you have to take a state exam afterwards. And so that's really how you start. You go to school for it, and there's so many programs, schools that like go based off of your schedule. You could do a 3-week, 6 month, 3 weeks, 6 months, however, whatever works for your schedule. So.
Yeah, for me, I was working at the time, so I went on Saturdays. So I did 11 Saturdays for like 6 hours a day. But as Mikeala mentioned, there's a lot of different options. So it's very flexible if you're working, if you're a mom. There's a lot of different options for you to get licensed. But also what was really key for me was finding a good mentor, even early on, even guiding me where to take the courses, just sharing their knowledge and their resources. It was really helpful for me being someone who had like not too much knowledge about real estate. So definitely finding that mentor. And then after your license, finding the right team for you. I started off with like a really big real estate office, really popular in the area, and they were great. But for me, I needed that one-on-one intention being a new realtor. So I ended up going with a smaller boutique firm, and it's been amazing. Like the support, the one-on-one training, they actually like tailor their training around what we need and not so much of a high level overview. So really just finding a fit for you. And you may have to move around and it's okay. You need to find what works for you.
I think you should also start with your bank account. Because being a realtor, if you're thinking I want to be a realtor before you go to school, I want you to consider the cost of being a realtor. It's not cheap. It looks sexy online, but it's nowhere close to being sexy. Clients aren't free. Listings aren't free. The marketing isn't free. The license, holding a license, the exam, the course, nothing is free. So if you don't have, I would say, let's say you make $35,000 a year currently, and you're thinking about leaving your job. You want to make sure at least you're bringing in $35,000 a year, like meaning save that, have a cushion, for a plan B if you don't get any deals throughout the year, because a lot of people, they come into the industry and they can go a whole year without having a sale, right? And then you can go 5 years and then you're like, I can't do this no more. I tap out, So think about coming into real estate, not thinking you're going to be a millionaire or make 6 figures your first year. Have a savings, have a support system. You got to move in with your mom. If you're young, if you're 18, 19, make sure you stay with mommy and daddy. Don't be quick to get an apartment because it is definitely an expense that you have to keep up with. It's not as fun as it looks.
And I just want to piggyback off of that. When I first started, the first thing my mentor said was, "Don't quit your job," because I was just so like, "Oh, I'm doing real estate. This is it for me. Like, I don't want to do anything else." And he was like, "Yeah, keep your day job. Build your clientele." And now that I'm in it, I see why. It's definitely expensive. I mean, it's worth it, but it's expensive.
Right.
Okay, let's go on to the next question. What are some key trends that have emerged in the real estate market in the past year?
I guess I'll start. So one of the trends, I'm not going to say in the past year, I want to say the past 3 years. One thing, if I've been in the industry just as long as Mikeala. When I first came in, it wasn't as congested. Right now, I think we have risen 60%. That's a 60% increase in the number of realtors in the U.S. It all started around 2021. 2021, they saw a rise, 60% increase in the number of realtors. And a lot of people, like historically, when there's a boom, you see more realtors come on, right? And then when there's a crash, everybody leaves. So in 2020, during the pandemic, it was like you didn't have to do much, to have a house and have it sold. All you had to do was just list it, and in 24 hours, it was gone, right? So the trends that we're seeing now, there's more realtors. It's like I don't know if it's 2 or 5 to every home, and there's not a lot of inventory, so there's more competition. With that being said, there's less checks being written out to realtors. So again, we talk about having a cushion, having security, because people aren't making the same amount of money that they were making before the pandemic. Another thing is, outside of the realtors, we want to talk to a seller and a buyer. They're back to waiving appraisals. They're back to waiving inspections because of the low inventory and how competitive that it is. But at the same time, we're now seeing appraisal issues. Because people are purchasing over the asking price, homes are not appraising as we expected to. So it's kind of like going back to 2020, the way we feel today, because the rates are going up, and then now they're getting ready to roll out something else in May, where it seems as though those with good credit and a good, they have assets, they have good work history, they're being punished now because they're going to be paying a little bit more than the average buyer that does not have good credit. So it seems as though like the industry of real estate, it's hard to predict. We don't know really what to expect, and everyone's winging it, and everybody's kind of like running around with their heads cut off, because we really can't make any predictions today to say what tomorrow will be like. All we can really do is speak in the moment, because we really don't know what the next trend will be, or the next hiccup or roadblock will face, because it's so unbalanced right now. And that's why I encourage buyers and sellers, if it works for you today, jump today, because I don't know what to expect tomorrow. Not in this industry.
Yeah, I have a lot of buyer clients that are like, "Oh, I'm going to wait it out to the interest rates drop back down," but you don't know when that's going to happen. So it's just
go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's it. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Another thing that's happening that I noticed is that, like, if you had a buyer that bought in 2020, I guess around the pandemic, and they had the really, really good low interest rates, and everybody at the time was in a panic and frenzy and just buying stuff. Now some of these now sellers or owners, they don't even want the house sometimes, and so a lot of them are selling or becoming accidental landlords because the interest rate was so low. It's like, do I really sell this? Like, I could probably make a little something off of this. So they're moving out of the house that they purchased with the low interest rate, and they're renting it out. So that's a trend that I've been seeing. A lot of what happened in COVID, people are feeling now. They either don't like the house anymore, or they're just kind of like, oh, dang, I like bought this and now I don't know what to do with it. So they're selling it. Like, I'm seeing homes that were sold within 2 years. You know what I mean? Within the 3-year mark. So that's happening a lot. And it's crazy because, like, there's a huge difference from the houses that sold in 2020 and the houses that sold now. They're worth like $150,000 more, $100,000 more. So that's something that I noticed. They're becoming like the buyers then are now becoming accidental landlords.
They're also becoming people that are facing foreclosure.
Yeah.
So I've taken on a lot of clients where I'm doing short sales, and it's like, yeah, I purchased a house 2-3 years ago. You know, I thought everything was great, and I was going to refi, and then I had to pay this, to pay that, and you know, a lot of people that did purchase, let's say in 2019, and they thought to refi. So you pay your closing costs in 2019, and then when you refi, you had to pay another closing cost, and you're pulling out all of your savings, and then there's no cash flow with the multifamilies. I'm speaking to investors, first-time investors. They're struggling today, and they're calling me like, Queen, I need you to help me figure this out because I just realized I can't raise the rent. No, you can't.
They paid so high.
Right, they paid so high, and it's like, I want to raise the rent. No, you can't.
Are not numbering, yeah.
Right, and then now it's turning into either they have to quickly sell and hopefully break even, or we're doing short sales. So that's I'm not going to say it's a trend. That's just an effect that the pandemic has had on a lot of the consumers of the market back then, and I'm hoping that if we can just learn from history, which is pretty, short. It was just a few years ago. If you can take that in consideration when you're making a purchase, to know your numbers, investors, to buyers, understand that you have a budget and stick to that budget. Nobody wants to live house poor, and nobody wants to end up in foreclosure or filing bankruptcy in a matter of 2 to 3 years. Because then you don't want to buy a house, later on because of that one experience you had. You were working with a realtor that kind of pushed you.
Yes, I was about to say that. Oh.
Yeah, you work with a realtor that pushed you into making a purchase. And it goes back to what I said about realtors. There's so many realtors in the game between like as young as 18 years old. You have babies. I say babies because my son is 17. So I see 18 as babies. You have babies that are just excited to get out here. And in 2020, these babies didn't have to know much about anything. All they knew was to show up at an open house, open the door, and to see lines going around the block. They didn't know anything about marketing. They didn't know anything about negotiations. All they knew was everybody was like, whatever the seller says, we'll do it, So now they're in a situation where, it's you having a realtor, and you trust them, and you expect them to lead you and guide you in the right direction. But some of them don't even know what they're doing. So be very cautious on who you have on your team. Consider that, these people, some people, there's bad apples in every industry. Some people just need to get paid. They got to pay their bills. They haven't paid their bills in months. So they're encouraging you to make a purchase that isn't for you. So always be the driver. Never let anyone lead you unless you fully trust what it is they're telling you, but you are the decision maker. Fact check. Make sure you know your numbers.
Always be the driver. Do your facts, your fact checking, everyone. And I appreciate you putting that information out there for people because I'm going to be a second-time home buyer. I'm in the process right now, so I think it's very important. I sold my house due to going through a divorce, and I didn't even have the house for like over 2 years. So I was like, I'm guilty. I didn't have the house. But it was some things that I wish I would have looked into first. But it's a learned experience at the same time. Some things that I will find myself looking into the second time around. That is when I go looking for a house. One of the things that I've seen online that maybe it's a trend, maybe y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen some realtors who have gotten into the industry of actually buying property, creating estates, and then selling those as well. So I've seen that has been a thing in Atlanta that some of the realtors are doing. But in cases where you live in like New York, New Jersey, the land isn't as cheap as it is in the South. Where I live in PA, the land is very cheap here. You can find like acres for like 40,000, 70,000. So if y'all ever looking to get into that, y'all let me know.
So estates, short sales, Rios, there's so many avenues a realtor could take, especially if you're looking for a side hustle or you want something that's consistent. There's so many avenues you can take. The thing about it is, it still goes back to having the understanding, the knowledge, the skill, the talent. Because if you're coming in thinking I'm just going to come in and deals are going to fall on my lap,
they will not.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. And even if that does, you find your niche. Like you have some people that they specialize in commercial and they stick to that. You got some people they specialize in wholesaling or investors, first-time home buyers, multi-families. Some people have never sold a single-family home, you know, and they're licensed realtors. I have a commercial realtor right now. He calls me every time he get a single family. He's like, I don't know what to do with that, you know. So you may find your niche, stick to that, learn it, master it, to the point where now when people think of a commercial property or when they think of a multifamily, they think of you. Or if they think of a property in a certain city, they think of you because you've dominated that area. So it's not so much a trend with realtors. It's just there's so many people in this industry right now. You have to figure out a way to brand yourself and be known for something. So that way you remain top of mind when a client considers working with a realtor in that field, in that area of the business, or in the area of that state. So I think that's important.
And
as a fairly new realtor, I'm actually working on getting some different designations to kind of set myself apart, because I do see how saturated the market is, and you definitely do need that niche like you mentioned. So that's something I'm working on for this year, so I can like kind of figure out my specialty.
Right. You kind of fall into it, to be honest. It just happened.
But it's cool that you're taking the classes and like finding it, because that you could find your interest in doing that.
Right.
And if for nothing else, just build my expertise in different areas.
So if you're a new realtor, get in and just do everything. And at some point you'll realize, like, I know a guy, a shout out to Carl. Carl does a lot of rentals. And a lot of people are like, oh, I hate doing rentals. I don't make no money. This dude be killing it. You can make the same amount of money, if not more, doing rentals. If you're doing like 20 units a month, you can make the same, if not more, than the average realtor in the business. The average realtor is making what is it? 49 to 79,000 a year. The average realtor. You know, the average realtor sells about 10 to 12 deals a year, right? So if you're doing 20 units, you know, it's easy to turn around to get a qualified tenant and put them in a unit. It's a lot easier than finding a buyer and finding a home, because that's going to take months, and then it's going to take months to get paid.
Actually, the average realtor, that's above average. That's actually above average. Yep, that's above average.
Well, the last time I checked, that the average realtor is 10 deals a year. Really? So, but the rental part is what I'm talking about. Like people, they shy away from rentals. They shy away from short sales. I'm now getting short sales like left and right. Right? And then with rentals, we're like, a lot of realtors don't want to waste their time. So it's the things that most realtors don't want to do, where it's like, hey, nobody's in this lane. Jump in it.
That's how I started off.
I need Carl's secret, because
rentals close quick. They close quick. That's how I started off. Like I was always doing rentals. I think I know Carl from Metuchen office, right?
Yeah. He gonna always have groceries. He always have groceries. His phone gonna always stay on. It don't matter. He don't gotta worry about nothing.
Coming into the market, I noticed like a lot of seasoned realtors will be like, oh no, I don't do rentals. And I just feel like, why? That's so biased. So I was taking on a lot of rental prospective clients, but I don't know, just the people I was running into, I hadn't had any closed rental deals. And I must have shown like 100 apartments.
Well, if you're new, you take whatever. You're just happy to have an appointment.
Experience.
You're just happy somebody calls you and you hear,
like, oh, you want me?
Right. So when you hear somebody say, hi, I'm looking for a realtor, you're like, oh my God, what's your budget? 20,000. Okay, I'll work with you. No, there's nothing for them.
You'll get to a point where you might be like, okay, I think I want to work with tenants, or I want to work with landlords. Like that's me. I mostly work with landlords when I do rentals. I want to be the one with the property. Like I want to sit back, I'll show it. So I have gotten there with that one. And I used to pull all my landlord clients from Craigslist at the time when I first started.
But you can get a lot of your landlords from Zillow too. You think about it, there's no loss for them if you represent them. So if you call those listings on Zillow where people are leasing their units, and you call them and say, hey, at no cost to you, I'll market your home and I'll find a tenant. They'll be like, okay, you don't got to deal with the stress of background checks, showing the property, none of that. I got you. At no cost to me? Nope, at no cost to you. The tenant pays my fee. Oh,
it's that part. It's the no cost part. That's exactly what I did. And I copy and pasted on Craigslist, and I looked for the ads that looked like it was like not an agent. It was a owner.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell how they advertise it.
And then the landlord at some point may become a seller. Now you got a multifamily to sell.
Yep.
Or if it's a condo, now you got a condo to sell. So I will never to this day, I don't do rentals, but I won't turn away a landlord, I'll tell you that.
Good.
And a tenant, I'll just refer it out. But a landlord, yeah, I will never, ever.
What's the difference, you would say?
I would say the tenants, for me personally, I'll say this. It can be challenging at certain price points too as well. I feel like I'm doing a disservice to them because I know that I have buyer clients that need to see homes on a Saturday and a Sunday, let's say, and then I have tenants and they need the same attention the same time. It's like, okay, thinking as a businesswoman, which makes more sense, which is the higher return on my investment of time and energy, right? Mm-hmm. So what I'll do is I don't want to turn away anyone ever.
Right.
It does not mean that I'm not going to assist you. I'm going to find the perfect match for you. I'm going to put you in the hands of someone that has the drive and the passion to like really find you an apartment, and they will have sleepless nights. They will be up on that MLS looking for an apartment. Whereas me, I want to put that energy into someone that's making a purchase because of what I'll be compensated for. So it's not so much of taking on the responsibility. Oh, I don't got time. They beneath me. That's beneath me. No. It's just saying, I know my time is limited and I don't really have the capacity for it, which is why a lot of people turn them away, but they have a team and they have someone that specializes in rentals, right? And they can help them with that process. I won't turn away a rental if, let's say, they're like $4,000, $5,000, and I know, they're getting a house to rent or one of the units downtown, and they're telling me, Queen, my credit is this, my income is this, I have no evictions, and everything seems like it's going to be an easy job. Then it's like, okay, I might consider it. Even if it's a $1,500 rental, like if I know we're not going to have issues, then I may invest the time. But it's common that we deal with people that need a little bit more attention, more effort, more work. And me personally, I would rather refer that out because I know someone's really going to make sure that they're a priority. And I'm as transparent as anyone can be when I say I know me. I have so much going on that sometimes I feel like I'll fail them, and I would rather not even, Yeah.
Because you know how much you have on your plate and you don't want to. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
In my experience with the rental clients, even in the beginning, and like you said in the beginning, you don't care who you get. When everyone's reaching out, I'm like, of course I'll help you find your apartment. But I found myself investing a lot of time and I wasn't making anything because in the beginning it was like, oh, okay, you fill out the application, we go look at apartments, and I don't like this one. No, the landlord said I don't like this. So we're looking at from apartment to apartment. And one day I sat down, I said, okay, how can I make this work for me? So I did start charging a retainer to look at apartments. At least I'm getting something out of the deal. And then I was capping how many apartments I was showing because it was just literally a waste of time in the beginning. Like we're going from apartment to apartment, no cash flow. So that kind of helped soften the blow a little, even if they didn't get approved. I'm like, okay, we looked at 3 apartments. I made a few $100s. I'm okay with that if I have nothing else going on.
Especially if they call you and say, you know what, thank you so much, but I just signed a lease with my this landlord down the street, and it's like, are you
that happens?
Or I got stood up. Apartment finder all this time. Apartment finder.
Yeah.
I was looking at 20 apartments with you, and you mean to tell me you?
Yeah, and they will with no hesitation.
Right, and I'm not mad at them because I would rather find my own apartment and not have to pay your fee.
Absolutely, I
get it. I totally get it, which is why I say those are the reasons why I say, that's too risky.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, when I work with tenants too, that's what I say. If you find another apartment, let me know. But yeah, it's like because it's such a quick transaction that like they could just you could see houses like today, but tomorrow they could probably end up finding something on their own.
Right.
So.
But shout out to all the tenants.
Yes.
We still love y'all. Y'all gonna be buyers one day. I got a home buyer seminar at 7:00 tonight. Tap in. We're gonna make you a buyer.
Tap in. Yes, and give us that information before we end so I can post it up in here so people
Will do.
let's see what we got here. So we going from being a real estate agent to being a home buyer now. So I know that or homeowner. So let's get into. I know we talked about the pandemic already. Hold on, let me see. How's the pandemic impact the way people buy and sell real estate, and what changes can we expect in post-pandemic era? So we kind of, do you think
that we answered that?
Yeah,
we answered that. So let's get into the next question. What are some of the common mistakes that first-time home buyers make when entering the real estate market, and how can they avoid them?
I think trying not to use a realtor. I think if it's your first time, it's definitely a great idea to have somebody experienced and knowledgeable about the market. Some people try to shop, house shop without a pre-approval. They'll go to for sale by owners, and you just don't know what you're getting. So the first step, to me, you definitely need an experienced realtor. I think that's one of the common mistakes, and not knowing how much house you can afford too. That's really important before you start shopping.
All right. I guess nobody else. Do you have something to add to it?
I was gonna say, especially for first-time home buyers, it's really scary for them because they've never bought a house. They don't know what to expect. But I would say for a first-time home buyer, they should literally know, in terms of knowing what they can afford, but not want to look at houses that need work unless you have the money to actually fix it. So as a first-time home buyer, you don't know what anything is in a house, you know what I mean? So move-in ready is somewhere where it's in the middle of that, not so renovated, but not a fixer-upper, and just have understand those things, because you don't, as a first-time home buyer, you don't know what these components are unless you have a bunch of money in the bank that you could use to renovate. Great. But I find that because some of the buyers budget may be right there in the middle where it, you know what I mean? It's pay that extra money to live in something that's not about to fall apart.
I agree. I had the first house that I owned. It was it was a newly renovated home. It had a new roof. It had furnace. Everything was new. But honey, when I moved in, it had baseboard heat on the second floor, and it had central heat on the first floor. So I'm paying 2 heat bills. So it's you really want to tap in and really get a checklist, or get somebody that knows what they're doing, and walk through the house and make sure it has, you're not going to be left with situations like that. Because boy, when the winter came, my bill was high because I was paying for 2 different types of heat. And that was a problem. And then for them to have central heat, then they didn't have central air conditioning. I'm like, oh my goodness. So we're waking up in the winter time. So it was a lot. But then it was the house was new at the same time, but missing some things from it. So it's do your research. And I agree with you, the in between, or get everything inspected, because things can be rotten. It's buying a house is serious, because once it's yours, you got to deal with everything. We had a house where we had a plumbing issue, and then we found out that one of the pipes were they must have ran out of pipes and just put whatever pipe they could put there, so it was causing clogs. So we had to get that pipe fixed, and just that one pipe to get fixed, it was so much money. So make sure you got some money in your bank account to get it fixed. Thank God you have the money, but still,
definitely do your due diligence. It's a long-term, expensive commitment. So
another common mistake. You said common mistake when entering the market. If you're coming into the market and you're making a purchase with a partner, be on the same page. I deal with couples that one is well, he wants to live in Connecticut. I think New Jersey is where it's at. Or he wants a multifamily. I really want a single. Or he really wants to live here. And it's just he wants to, stay here. But I feel what I want is really up there. And then it's that's something that I can't guide you on. I can tell you where your property is going to be cash flow. I can tell you which markets are booming. I can tell you what's on the decline. I can tell you about distressed properties. I can tell you about the buying process. But what I can't tell you is what's best for you and your significant other, or what's best for you and your business partner, because only you two will know that. So before you come to us, with the dysfunctional, because it's overwhelming, because then when you find that single family home and the person that was so focused on the single family home, the moment something goes wrong in inspections, the other partner is bitter and like, I told you not to get this anyway, and then the deal falls through, and it has nothing to do with the property. It has everything to do with what's personal, like the emotions, and we can't tap into that. So for me, it's like everybody be on the same page, because if one person isn't, it just derails everything. Because they keep throwing at you. It's like, I told you I ain't like that basement. I told you I ain't like that, and I got to sit there in the middle of it, like, well, trying to find solutions. Well, you can always renovate it. You can always do improvements. And then I feel salesy, and I know I'm being salesy. I'm just like, we made it this far. Don't kill the deal. So just be on the same page, because we really never know what to do in situations like that. We try to stay neutral, but it's definitely challenging when there's two people involved and you don't know who the decision maker is.
Get y'all counseling before y'all start looking for a house.
I can't.
Get the counseling.
Do that in your counseling. Get that in your premarital counseling, honey. Go for a house.
Be on the same page. Be on the same page.
Yes. All right, let's go to the next question. What role does technology play in real estate industry today, and how has it transformed the way agents and brokers do business?
Well, for the elders. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, for my last transaction, every transaction really, it plays a major part, especially being a full-time worker, a mommy. My time is a little more limited. So being able to send those emails, DocuSign, I don't have to see the person in person for every paper that needs to be signed. It's very helpful. I closed my transaction. I didn't even come to the closing. My client was like, no, I'm good. You don't need to come. They went to the office on their own, signed their closing paperwork. The buyer did the same, and I got my check 2 weeks later. So, a lot of things are electronic. And that is so helpful.
Baby, I didn't even have to go into the office. Yeah, while I was working.
Yeah, technology has transformed the way we submit documents, the way we sign documents, the way we advertise our properties. I know on my Instagram, and also Queen, we both post a lot of stuff, and we just advertise properties all the time, pushing it. And I've gained a lot of people that may not have reached out to say, hey, Mikeala, I'm ready to buy, but at some point they will, because they're watching you. They're watching you do everything real estate on your page. So technology has definitely transformed that for me. I have people who reached out through Instagram wanting to work with me because they like the content that I put up, the information. So technology plays a huge role in real estate, to the point where I think that a lot of younger agents have emerged because that's their thing. And so it's good. It's definitely like a very important part of real estate. So yeah.
I see some real estate agents doing the TikToks and the TikTok dances in the new in the houses that they're trying to sell.
Anything to sell that, baby.
So with artificial intelligence, the AI that's rolled out, what's great about technology, and that is you can easily speak to it and say, hey, what's the market doing in New Jersey and Newark? And they can say, hey, this is what's happening. And it can tell you where's probably best to invest, what's soon to come. Speaking of coming soon, Mikeala got a few listings underneath her belt coming soon. Shout out to Mikeala.
Mikeala.
You always do it.
But yes, artificial AI, anybody that's in that, I mean, we're hearing about it, but we're not using it. But if you tap into that and you use it to get an idea, better understanding, or even a fact check, you can be with your realtor at a showing and it could be telling you, oh yeah, that's a sump pump. And what it does, it keeps the electricity on. You can go, AI, well, what's a sump pump? Is she telling the truth? What's going on here? And they'll break it down. It's like having a conversation with, an individual that can fact check for you if you don't really know what to look up. Because sometimes we look up what we think. We look up only what we know or what we've been exposed to, right? So having a system that you can ask a question and they're going to tell you everything there is to know, not only what you're inquiring about, but a little more detail and expand. Like you can explore a little bit more about markets or just any type of information. I feel like AI, like artificial intelligence, is going to change the game for us all. So it's going to weed out the good ones. It's going to weed out the bad ones. So if you don't have the knowledge, you're up against technology right now. Yes. That's going to be smarter than you. Yes. And they're going to challenge you with some stuff. They probably in their car already getting questions together. They're going to come out the car and ask you, do you know anything about it? You'll be like, no, I have no idea. And then we look stupid. So just like with social media, with Instagram, before there was a time, all you had to do was post a house. But now you have to do a video and really point out some things and set yourself apart from the rest. And it's people still trying to catch up. Some people don't even have an Instagram. Some people don't have other platforms that we use. So get on every platform. But I really feel like we need to shift and be ahead. Like, for anybody that's listening, shift and figure out how to use AI a little bit more. And it's the best tool, I think, because that's going to be our competition. It's not going to be us anymore against each other. Right. We're going against technology.
Right.
I actually use AI to do my descriptions.
She like, can't beat them, join them. Can't beat them, join them.
Okay. I want something like long for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Make sure you say it has countertops, like quartz countertops, all of that, a huge backyard. I type that little through like one sentence and it gives me 4 paragraphs.
ChatGPT.
Paragraphs. Yep. ChatGPT will do anything for you. I wanna plan on how to become a realtor. ChatGPT will tell you.
Right. Like, so you gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. That's our competition. They're gonna be like, hey, what's going on in Newark? Like there was a crime or there was this or there was that or do you know the great things that are happening in this area? So it's either they're gonna tell you, they're gonna be honest, so don't lie about anything, right? Whether there was a crime or whether there was a huge investment in that area. So I feel like that, like I said, I think that's what's probably going to be our biggest competition, and we need to know how to use it, and we need to have more knowledge and understanding of what we're doing in our industry, because that's what we're up against.
YouTube, everybody, YouTubeology. Make sure you go up and go on YouTube and look into ChatGPT. It has been a fine resource for me thus far, and it can help you with anything. And one thing I would say that it does have a lot of morals. So if you try to go outside of that, it will stop you in your tracks and it will not help.
Yes, it will. Yep, it does.
So just be mindful of that, and you should be grateful that you're working with something that will help you to have a better mindset of how to handle things. And when you're getting this information, read over it. You can always go copy it, revise it to more so fit you. If something doesn't, if you don't like some of the sentences or how it's structured, you can always go in and revise it. But AI technology is amazing, even to the point where you can create imagery. You can say, hey, I want an African-American woman with a blonde afro and an ice cream cone in her hand. And they will give you all these different options. And it's just amazing. It's amazing. So stay up, stay right before you get left. Anyone has anything else to add? All right, let's get into the next question. Ladies, what advice do you have for current homeowners who are considering selling their property in today's market? Well, we spoke about that, but if you want to add more to it.
No, I think we touched on that, right?
Yeah, I think that we
get a realtor.
Not just any realtor.
No, definitely not.
And not for nothing, because you said earlier I haven't been in real estate that long, and since 2019 only. It's not really about the years you've been in the business. So I don't want anyone looking for a realtor to say, hey, how many years you've been in the business? There's people that have been in the business for 20 years and they don't know half of what I know. They don't know a 10% of what I know, because all they've been doing is sitting in front of desks waiting for the phone to ring to take a call, because they do this part-time or they retired and it was just something to do to get out the house. All right. So don't base experience and knowledge or expertise on time.
Yeah,
because there's some people that came in this business and they've been killing it. It's only about how what have you been exposed to? How many deals have you experienced?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
How many deals have you handled? What type of deals have you handled? Because there's some people that have never done a short sale, right? Doesn't mean you're not an experienced realtor. That's just not your thing, right? So you need to know if you're gonna work with a realtor, when they do the consultation, that's your time to have an interview, right? They shouldn't be the only ones asking you questions. You know, when they say, what do you expect of me? Or if they don't ask, you know, you tell them, this is what I expect. What do you know about this area I'm interested in purchasing? And how many deals have you done there? Okay, well, if you don't know anything about the area, do you intend on doing any research? Do you know someone that's out there that you could probably partner with? Because every market is different. Just because I was born and raised in Newark, don't mean I know all of Newark when it comes down to real estate. All right. So just because somebody says they live there or they're from there doesn't mean they know the market. So it's all about experience and not about the time that individual has been in that market or in that industry, I would say.
And I always look for an educator, someone who's going to teach me and be hands-on through the whole process and not just try to like speed by the process and take my money. So shout out to Erica, who's from my area. Like, she really sat down and talked to me about everything, though as sometimes she became salesy at times because she always try to, you know, hey, I'm like, I don't want oil. This is going to be expensive. She said, well, you can always change it until. I was like,
yeah. Shout out to the sales educator.
Yes.
So listen,
you can always transfer to gas. It's inexpensive.
I'm like,
there's no driveway though. You can always cut the lawn.
No, but like you definitely want somebody knowledgeable, particularly about what the market where you're going to be buying or selling. So no, you're absolutely right. Definitely do it the time, all about the knowledge and the relationship that they want to build with you. And you'll feel that if they genuinely want to build a rapport and a relationship with you, you know, that's the agent for you.
Yeah, because I don't care if you know about the area. I'm like, hey, can you find out about the area? Like, that's what type of time I'm on a lot of times. Like, if I see that somebody is very genuine, I'll just be like, I'll put them to work and say, hey, just find it out, because I'm building a relationship with you. And now when it was time for me to sell my house, I went to her. When it's time for me to buy another house, I'm going back to her in this area. So it's like you said, the experience, the rapport, and things like that. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I think current owners should also get their like paperwork in order in terms of like, because that's the first question I ask a seller, like, how much do you owe on the house still? There are agents who work with they don't even ask that question, and then something hits the fan because that seller modified the loan so many times that like the price that they're under contract for, they can't, by the time they close these, they're gonna be in the negatives. So as a current homeowner, just make sure that like all the loans, whatever you did with the house, is squared away, and that price or whatever you owe on it just makes sense with its worth today.
And don't lie and say, y'all only got one mortgage on the house. We get that mortgage payoff statement, and then title is ran, and we're like, hey, why you ain't tell me about that second mortgage? Why you ain't tell me you owe somebody else?
You can't hide from it. The title will give you everything that happened on the property. So it's
sir, why you ain't tell me you got child support, sir? They got a lien on your house.
So the same way they should be asking us questions, we have to ask the proper questions as well. So we have to do our due diligence too. If not,
that's why I say you gotta work with the right realtor that has experience and not so much the right. We know what to ask you. Right. Right.
Y'all funny. So why you got? Tell me you got that.
You had a whole.
It's serious. It's serious out here.
No, for real, because they do dig into your life. I'll be like, dang, I'm not.
Everything comes up. Everything. Both buyers and sellers. Everything comes up.
A medical bill.
Yeah.
Construction lien on the house. If you had a construction work done and like you ain't paid them, they could put a lien on that house.
Right. Child support.
All that.
Second mortgage. You got a second mortgage because you couldn't pay the first one, and they pretty much gave you assistance. If you pulled out a loan and used your home as an asset, They gave you $10,000. You thought I ain't got to pay Chase back. Chase, no, Chase will know about the sale. Okay,
Chase and get their money.
Right.
I be seeing court cases on them titles.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
So listen, y'all get our background together before you get checked. Okay,
Right.
all of it. You trying to, your whole life will be on the line. Okay.
Right.
That person will know your whole life. Like,
Right.
Make sure you trust your realtor, because
Right.
your life is in their hands at that point.
That's probably why my family don't hire me. They were like, "Nah, she gonna know too much."
Yes. Oh my goodness.
That's a real thing.
She gonna know too much.
They don't want you to know all of their business.
That is a real thing.
Get you a realtor out the country or out of the state. You know what? People, if you don't want to be embarrassed, honey, you're like, oh, that's okay. I think I'm gonna end with one more question, because Queen has another function to get to, so we're gonna end off with one last question. What are the most important factors that buyers should consider when purchasing a home, and how can they make informed decisions?
Okay, I'll start. One of the most important factors buyers should consider when purchasing a home, and how can they make informed decisions? Please, like I'm a good person with a good heart, and I can tell when somebody knows nothing about nothing, right? And I'll say to them like, okay, so what's your budget? I mean, well, we were thinking of like 3,000, but no more than 4. And it's like, okay, so you're doing it with your partner? Yeah, I'm doing it with my boyfriend. And then I get nervous because in my mind it's just like, how old are you again? You're 22. Okay, right? So like you may want to have an attorney get involved to make sure that you understand exactly what type of investment you're making in the event. Just like we have life insurance in the event that we pass away, people have prenups and all. Have something in writing so you know what it looks like should you guys break up. All right, should you guys break up if you're making an investment. And then going in, know something about investing in real estate, and not just what you hear on social media, on Instagram, because you follow this guru and they're telling you, oh my God, you can live rent free if you get a 3-family, you live in 1 unit, and the other 2 is pretty much going to pay your mortgage. You don't know that. And then you come in and you tell me what you know, and you tell me what this guru told you. And if I'm telling you, not this property, ma'am, because you can't just go in with tenants that already have a lease, and in the middle of, they only been in there for a month, you think you're going to bump their rent up $800? It's not happening. It doesn't work. So come in with the right information, allow a professional to guide you and lead you, and then fact check. Like I've been saying, fact check. And then when you do inspections, talking about informed decisions, when you go through inspections, and an inspector is going to have like a 40-50 page report. And they're going to tell you all these things that may be wrong with the property, that is wrong with the property, or what could possibly go wrong with the property in the future. You automatically think, oh my God, my boiler could explode 10 years from now because of this. Well, listen, they said it could possibly happen. Have someone come in to check. Oh my God, the double tap wires could cause a fire. Oh my God, no, I'm running. It's like, no, ma'am, get an electrician to come in and find out what it would cost to rewire it and make sure they have its own, what do you call that? The little thing, the little flicker, what do you call it? Help me out, Mikeala. Come on, I'm looking at you. CB. We're supposed to hold each other down. Like us, it's like certain things scare you, and it's like a $10 job. The bathroom is leaking. There's a leak in the bathroom, and it's just a loose valve that needs to be tightened up. It doesn't mean kill the deal, but a lot of buyers, they don't make informed decisions. They go off of emotion and they just run. I don't want it. It's just too much. The buyer doesn't want to address anything, but it may not be as major. It may be something minor, a quick fix. A handyman can go in and do it for $50. So again, knowing when you're going into this investment with someone else, because I hate to get a phone call a year later that, the relationship didn't work out and he doesn't want to give me anything from the property because his name is on the deed and I'm not, and you're the girlfriend. All right. You really don't have anything to do with this purchase. All right. And you think you're going to get shares from it. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And then killing deals over minor things, I feel like it's silly. Like you need to have an idea of what's the most you're willing to pay to fix up the house, even if it's $3,000. So when you go through inspections and issues come up, you know, like, all right, this is a deal breaker because it's going to cost me $6,000 to address these issues. The seller doesn't want to help. I tap out. That makes more sense than a $200 job that you don't even want to look up and get information about. You just walk away from the property altogether because of ego or just not having any information about what it is that you need to address.
Anyone else?
You covered a lot. I think just to piggyback off of what you said, get information, do research. If you're not sure, hire a professional because it's a long-term commitment. So you want to make sure it's the right decision for you. But yeah.
Yeah, also like just figure out like what your max is because there's competition. So be realistic about what's happening. Like if you're just like, oh wow, like I really can't afford it, or I could, but it's gonna cost me a little bit. Make that decision. Like figure it out. Come back maybe when you've increased your income or whatever the case is, but be realistic about it because there's so much competition right now. And yeah, it's just hard. So yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank you ladies for joining us on the episode of Whatever You Say podcast. I also want to add y'all to the Whatever You Say podcast family because I will be inviting y'all every year after today. And anything that I can assist y'all in, please feel free to let me know. Any promo videos, send them my way. I'm here to assist y'all in any way possible. And without further ado, I'm gonna let these ladies introduce themselves. Let y'all know where they can be found, and leave some words, some last minute words to the people. I'm gonna let you go, Queen, since you have somewhere to go.
Hey, Queenella Gibson, licensed realtor in the state of New Jersey. You can follow me at Queenella_realtor on Instagram. And I think if you use that same, you'll find me on Facebook. Words of encouragement. Don't listen to the noise. Everything that's happening, don't listen to the noise. Focus on what it is that's in your pockets, what you can work with. Focus on if you're willing, able, and ready to buy. If you're willing, able, and ready to sell. Don't listen to the noise. Only you know your situation. Only you know what your life, how your life is set up and what works for you. And if you just keep that, top of mind and you just focus on that, you cannot go wrong. There will be no regrets because, you're going in with a plan. And, if you failed, at least you put your best foot forward.
Thank you. What about you?
Hi, everybody. I'm Treallis at T_Sierra Real Estate on Instagram. Facebook is T.Sierra Real Estate. I am a real estate agent, Burgos Realty in Montclair, New Jersey. And I just want to say that you are enough. You are enough. You are enough. I've been through a lot these past 2 or 3 years. We all been through different things, but I am laser focused on my goals. So if you have anything that you want to accomplish, have that tunnel vision, get it done. You got it.
Thank you. And last but not least.
Hey, I'm Mikeala Semexant. I'm with Coldwell Banker in Maplewood. You can find me on Instagram, Sold by Mikeala. Also Facebook, Sold by Mikeala. TikTok, Sold by Mikeala. A personal, I guess, takeaway would be just set your boundaries and stick to them. That's been a huge theme of mine this year. And also, I'm the kind of realtor that, I'm hands-on and I don't push. So stick to your budget. I respect budgets because that's a boundary. So thanks again for having me, Praise.
No problem. And I just want to thank the guests for coming on the show once again. As always, people like, subscribe, hit that notification button. And also, Juneteenth is coming up. We got some Juneteenth merch on the website at www.whateveryousaypodcast.com. You can also find some merchandise on there for not only Juneteenth, but Whatever You Say podcast merch. And since we're talking about getting the keys, we have the key holder merch on the site as well. So go on whateveryousaypodcast.com. Make sure you get your merch. I'm so excited about today's show. And that's it for another episode I hope you enjoyed the conversation, learned something new, and maybe even had your perspective challenged in some way. If you're hungry for more, don't forget to tune in every other Wednesday for a brand new episode. And if you loved what you've heard, please like, share, and subscribe. Like I said before, your support means the world to us, and it helps other curious minds like yours to find our show. As always, I'm your girl La, aka Pella Talk, and it's whatever you say. Have a great day.